Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be talking about skill class and the best skill champions in my opinion to take all the way up to rank 4, and for most importantly specific reasons, because as always there are champions who are better at specific game modes, and you as a player typically have the game modes that you are most interested in, be that Alliance War, be that Battlegrounds, be that just story content, be that something else. And that is very important where these champions excel. Obviously there are some champions that are amazing absolutely everywhere, and there are some that are awful absolutely everywhere, but at the same time it's also very important that you rank up the champions that you A, enjoy using, and B, know how to use. Because as always, if you rank up a middle of a tier champion but you know everything about that champion and what matchups you can and can't do with it, and master that champion to a full degree, you're going to get much better results out of it than an average player, than I would or I could. Therefore, it always stands to reason that if you absolutely love using a specific champion, you should just go ahead, disregard what people think. This is a game at the end of the day. Rank who you love and you're going to do better than you think you will. Don't listen to all the naysayers and stuff like that. At the same time, there are champions objectively better than others, and this video is going to be about that. The champions that I think are the best in the game and the best to rank for right now. And we're going to start off with Kingpin. Kingpin is still an absolute powerhouse virtually everywhere in the game. In my opinion, definitely #1 rank up choice in skill class. Does great in Alliance War, does great in Alliance Quest, does amazing in questing, does insane in Battlegrounds, offensive, defensively, everywhere you look at, Kingpin is great. And yeah, in my opinion, the best skill champion we have right now in the game. Super easy to use, super versatile, super troublesome to fight against. And yeah, I think Kingpin pretty much should be everybody's first skill rank up if it was up to me. Moving on, Nick Fury. Nick Fury has declined in his popularity without a doubt since the rise of Kingpin, since a few other champions have come to the game, but still extremely powerful champion. Alliance War defense, mainly offensively, we do not see him that much, is still good for Alliance Quest as well, amazing for a ton of questing stuff, and most importantly, potentially the most annoying Battlegrounds defender with his second life and his unblockables and everything else that he has going on for him. And he's definitely on my personal shortlist for rank 4 as well. He can put out some insane, crazy bleed numbers, is, however, extremely deep wounds reliant. Also, a quick note to the Kingpin. It is worth ranking up Kingpin, in my opinion, unawakened, but when it comes to awakened ability, it does help. And what is perhaps even more important, he has basically 3 SIG levels that matter. SIG 1, SIG 65, and SIG 200. There's no point in keeping him in anywhere in between. My personal Kingpin, I think, is SIG 85 now, because I took him up to 65 and duped him since. But basically, yeah, even at SIG 1, even unduped, and especially at SIG 65, well worth the rank 4. Nick Fury, SIG 1, and you're happy. Obviously, higher SIG can help you out slightly, for instance, in Alliance War or Battlegrounds, but that is not as important. Even at a low SIG, very well worth ranking up. However, unduped, he is definitely not worth ranking up. So, therefore, always make sure your Nick Fury is awakened before you rank him up. Next champion is Shang-Chi, and I'm going to be pretty honest here. He's definitely not my cup of tea. I like him, kind of. I appreciate him a lot. I know that a lot of people absolutely love this guy, but for me, I don't know. I just can't quite get myself to love him. At the same time, I see a ton of people who do. He's extremely versatile. Unlike first 2 choices, he has no real defensive value, so keep that in mind. However, Shang-Chi definitely shines also in questing situations, Alliance War, and Battlegrounds as well. So very worthwhile rank up, and does not have to be awakened. If anything, I'd say Shang-Chi has one of the... And I'm not going to say his awakened build is useless, because it gives him up to 20% of damage, but it really doesn't matter all that much, in my opinion. I rank 3'd my Shang-Chi unawakened, awakened him later, and will never give him a single 6-star. So, there you go. Next champion might be a surprise, but Massacre is now absolutely blasting off pretty much everywhere, in my opinion. Clearly better than Valkyrie, clearly better than Karna, clearly better than any other of these hit-the-block champions. He's an absolute Battlegrounds menace. He even worked in metas where he shouldn't have worked. and he can counter so many different champions. A player that opened my eyes to Massacre fully. Like, I always enjoyed him, but I never appreciated him as much as I should have. Anyways, the player was Fintech, because the matchups that he does in Battlegrounds with Massacre are just insane. He uses him for Man-Thing, he uses him for Penny, he uses him for a ton of different champions, and it's just absolutely brutal. In most cases, it's just a basic level 1, level 2 combination, where that level 2 in the block just does so much damage. The Disorient's useful. You can also spam level 1s in order to obtain stupid amounts of Incinerates and Bleeds. So Massacre definitely, in my opinion, is worth a rank 4 in today's day and age. Next up is Hitmonkey. Hitmonkey also has received kind of new lease on his life. He was almost all but forgotten and discarded by huge swaths of player base, but Battlegrounds have definitely brought this guy back in focus, because you can run him with Liquid Courage Double Edge very easily. He doesn't need to be awakened, and he just tears through opponents with guaranteed crits, bleeds, disorients, counters to evade, and everything else. Hitmonkey definitely, in my opinion, right now is worth the rank 4, especially if you focus on Battlegrounds, similarly to Massacre, basically. But even for rest of the content, I think Hitmonkey is proving himself yet again more and more. That's one of the beautiful things about Battlegrounds. They kind of revitalized a ton of champions that had been kind of pushed aside. But here we are. Next up, Black Cat. I already spoke in my tier list video where I genuinely think that Black Cat's introduction was more harmful to Black Cat than helpful, with all of those oh my god world record videos, and you can do this crazy stuff in Abyss and crazy stuff in Labyrinth, and people being kind of like overemphasizing the spamming heavy attacks, building up that combo meter, getting the cards, exchanging hands. The reality is, you don't need that. You don't want to do that. Really, you just want to build up to your level 2, punish one special attack or intercept once, and then drop your level 2, reduce opponent's ability accuracy by almost or up to 100%, and then basically just watch the chaos ensue. And she's a beast. That's all there is to it. If you do not know much about Black Cat, I will be uploading a Black Cat guide in near future on the channel, so stay tuned for that. But trust me, she's well worth it. She was one of my MVPs for Act 8.1. She is one of my Battlegrounds favorites in ton of matchups. And she definitely, without doubt, will find more and more uses, more and more fans, more and more admirers in the game. You can count on that. Put my word on it. Next up, Black Widow Deadly Origins. Black Widow Deadly Origins has always been one of those champions that seemed good, but not necessarily, you know, insane, crazy, I must rank for her now. But the thing that I noticed, the way that lanes and nodes and paths are often structured just allow her to shine. She's one of those champions that doesn't seem that special on paper, but in reality, she just fits and she does work in many areas of the game. And the same is still true right now. Obviously, bringing her up to rank 4 will improve her damage output, which is a main thing you want from her. Access to shock, access to burst damage, and very big damage output. The reason why Black Widow Deadly Origins work as well as she does is also quite simple. It's just the simple fact that she can access very large amount of damage very quickly, without problems, without any difficult rotations, without any build up or ramp up, and so on and so forth. Basically, intercept your opponents or punish their specials and heavies and drop a level 2, and most champions will be dead with 1 or 2 level 2s. Simple, super effective. Definitely a champion who has about 70% more abilities than she actually uses, but there is that. And the next up, Falcon. Falcon is, again, Falcon almost kind of slid out of relevance for a couple of months because of how Kabam were structuring their nodes, where everybody all of a sudden is immune to ability accuracy modification, like Omega Sentinel and like Penny Parker, so on and so forth. Or then they have increased ability accuracy nodes everywhere, and so on and so forth. But at the same time, that trend seemingly is changing, on top of the fact that Malman got nerfed, so kind of Falcon kind of has to step up and be that skill evade counter alongside Shang-Chi and a couple of others. And then with the release of Battlegrounds and him being able to bypass a ton of nodes so far in the Battlegrounds metas, like Dodge right now, like Bulwark, like Explosive Personality, like Safeguard, and so on and so forth. So extremely, extremely valuable and versatile champion. And the last champion that I didn't show yet, but I still truly believe that he is still worth rank 4, is Malman. especially because Malman turns out to be a very powerful defensive option in Valorant as well. But even in the questing situations, he still has access to a ton of debuffs, ton of guaranteed crits, to massive, amazing damage output, to shock, which is not irrelevant, ability to block unblockables. And yes, there is no doubt that Malman is significantly worse than he was. And make no mistake, those people who say that, it wasn't a big change or anything like that, it's full of shit. He was a lot better than he is. Period. There are tons of matchups that he could do insanely well. Just check this meta, for instance. If it was old Malman in Valorant's current dodge meta, Malman would be pretty much on top of everybody's ban list because he would be MVP for it. Insane damage with, stable guaranteed evade prevention. He would wreck it. Right now, he's good in it, but if anything, he's primarily better defender right now in the dodge meta. And, there are plenty of other matchups like, Overseers or Medusas and Modocs, which he used to do so much better than he does right now. He can still do them, just much slower and not as good or more risky. But still, I think he's worth ranking now. Nowhere near as good as he was, but I still think he is worth the rank up. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about my picks. Obviously, there are more skilled champions that are worth your consideration. Valkyrie, I don't know all that much about yet. Don't have one at higher rarity. Misty Knight has been putting in work for me. We have Jabari, Panther, Killmonger, Korg, all of them shining more and more for their own reasons. Even OG Black Panther seemingly is putting in quite a bit of work in several different game modes. So yeah, there are definitely more champions, Hawkeye and Elsa, Crossbones, and even Blade to a degree, that are reasonable rank ups. But the ones that I named, in my opinion, are standing above the rest. Let me know what you guys think, and I'm going to catch you guys soon. See ya. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about